All right. So we're going to go and talk about 2025. Let me share my screen and there we go. All right. So 2025, it's right around the corner. And so what's really cool is that Command has it so you can set up your goals in Command, and it kind of combines the lead generation model and the economic model. So if you have you read the MREA before or are familiar with the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Okay, right. So it talks about the four models. You have your organizational model, you have your budget model, you have your lead gen model, and you have your economic model. So what Command does is it's tied in your lead generation model and also your economic model to help you in setting your goals for 2025. And when you set your goals, you kind of start with the end in mind. So you want to think about how much money do I want to make from real estate in 2025? And then it's going to break it down for you. Okay. So the key piece at the beginning is going to be the setting the based on the economic model. So we're going to think about the end in mind, which is how much I want to net. And it works backwards. And it looks at how many units you're going to need to close. And it's going to look at how many appointments you're going to need to take. And then it backs up and starts getting the lead generation model where it's how many leads do I need to get in 2025 to convert into contacts, to convert into active buyers or sellers. Okay. So it's a really easy exercise. Do you have Command up on your computer? It's okay. You can follow along on this. Yep. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, if you're in Command on the left-hand side, you're going to go down here to the Reports tab. You're going to click on the Reports. All right. And we are going to select Goals. And up here at the right, we are going to select our 2025 goals. Okay. And we're going to set our goals. So we're going to get started. Okay. So anyone who wants to get into real estate and you ask them how much money you want to make, the answer is always 100,000. I don't know what it is. It's this number, the six-figure dream of 100,000. So what I've done is I have put in my annual goal for next year is 100,000. All right. Expenses and cost of sales. So your expenses and your cost of sales are two different types of expenses. Okay. When you look at your expenses, those are your operating expenses. Those are expenses that you have no matter what. If you don't sell a piece of real estate, if you don't receive any commissions, you still have these expenses. Okay. So, what would be an example of that expense? Our office bills. We have our MLS dues, our board dues, which board dues just came out. So, that's a pain point. Um, so those are general expenses that you have, real estate expenses that you have no matter what if you sell any properties or not. Okay. So an average, there's variables in this. The average is about 1,000 for this exercise. We're gonna just say $3,000 for our expenses. So I kind of calculated it based on our MLS dues and our board dues, our monthly office bills, and just maybe some miscellaneous. 3,000 is probably on the high end. Okay. Then you have a second piece of expenses, and these are your cost of sales. So these are expenses that you have no matter, or I'm sorry, these are expenses that you have or incur only if you sell a piece of property. Okay. So an example of a cost of sale would be your company dollar that you pay or your royalties. So you're only paying the company if you actually sell a piece of property. So those are examples of expenses that you incur when you sell real estate. What's another example of a potential expense on that? No, because advertising your real estate business, you have to pay no matter what if you generate zero leads. So that would be an expense, not a cost of sale, it would just be an expense. Another example of a cost of sale, though, is if you get somebody under contract and you use a transaction coordinator that closes it out, that would be an example of a cost of sale. Now, depending on how you make up your business, your listing photos may fall under cost of sale, or they may fall under an operating expense, because not all listings that go on the market, if you're covering that expense for your seller, sell. So you may have listing photography, that's probably going to be an operating expense. All right. So what I've done is I've plugged in to the cost of sales the $18,000, which is your $15,000 cap plus a $3,000 royalty. Okay. So I've got my expenses set, I have my cost of sales set, and now we look at our business makeup. So in your first year, for second year of real estate, you know, you have to look back at, and you have to look at what your business makeup might be. Like right now, in your conversations that you're having, are you having conversations with more buyers or more sellers? More sellers. Okay. So maybe your business makeup might be heavier on the seller side and lower on the buy side. So for this exercise, then I'm going to plug in. So maybe we're going to say 60% of your business will be made up of sellers, and then 40% is made up of buyers. Okay. Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that mainly because, you know, we have now to get something else,
Mhm.
you know, so it's kind of a
Well, and so there's resources that you have to look at when you have and objection handlers. You have to study objection handlers, right? So, and this isn't my strong point. However, conversation may look around like, well, you pull analytics under, like, since the MLS has analytics that they put out, Domos Analytics is an opportunity, and those basically give you the average. So the average day on market. So I pulled up Domos Analytics the other day, and it said the average day on market in November was, I think, 13 days for Hamilton County, Butler County, Warren County, and things like that. In the summer and peak seasons, it's like 2 days, 3 days. Now, we're going to see in the next couple months if that's starting to continue to trend on an average days on market as being a little bit higher. Okay. So conversation with your Mr. and Mrs. Seller is that if their pain point, if their concern is that they're afraid they're not going to be able to buy something, if they go under contract on listing, you can let them know, like, one, listing inventory is up big time. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because this is a resource. Let me see if I can do this. I want my bookmarks. There we go. Here we are. Okay. So there's this tool called Domus Analytics. You can access this through your Cincy MLS, but I have it saved just on my desktop, so I can pick it up anytime. But basically, this is going to give you a snapshot of the market. And in November 2024, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just select Hamilton. Okay. So here's just Hamilton County. All right. Average sales price, 270,000. We have median days on market, 10 days. 695 units were sold in November, just in Hamilton County. Active inventory, 1,317. Look at that percentage up. That is up 46%. Okay. New listings, 791, that's up 14%. Okay, so you can take, so the numbers always tell a story, right? So when you're looking at having a conversation with your sellers, you have to identify those pain points. One, of why they're selling, right? Why do they want to sell? What's the reason for them moving? Okay, so understand that. And then you have to understand their concerns and you have to give them that raw data. Okay, so you need to really be the expert in real estate in your market and understanding the numbers. Now, if you go on the MLS, you can identify specific neighborhoods and get a better idea of the days on market. You can also do that on command. But if you look, what's really interesting is if you look at November this month or this year, and you go back to November of last year, look at that active inventory. 902, and we have 1312 right now. Okay. New listings, 689. Median days on market is 9. I mean, we're not in peak season, so the days on market's a little bit higher in the winter, right? Median sales price. Look at 246 a year ago. It's 270 now. Okay. So the numbers always tell a story. So you have to have those conversations when you're talking with your sellers. Okay. Then you can go through and you can look at see what happened in December last year. Okay. They only had 790 listings. 12 days on market. So this is a really fun tool. Again, you can get this through Cincy MLS. I'm going to copy it and just email it to you real quick while you're on here, just so I can, well, I'll email it to you at the end of the class. I don't want to show my unread messages. All right. Okay. So your business makeup, 60% listings, 40% buyers. Okay. Now we go down to the average commission. So the average commission, 7,500. That's a $250,000 home. We just looked at the statistics. The average sales price in Hamilton County just last month was 270. I would say as a market center, our average close units is about 285 sales volume. $285,000 home is the average sales price right now, just within our market center. So obviously, when you're looking at this, I understand, you're still building the business. You may not know this number. So maybe you want to look at more of a conservative number. 250 is below the average right now, $250,000 home. So I'm just going to leave it here at 7,500. I just wanted to explain to you why I was using 7,500, right? Okay. All right. So now we're going to hit continue. And this is pulling in back to the economic model. It's pulling in the percentages. Okay. So, and it's tying in the lead generation. So if you look at this from the bottom up, all right, 75% of your conversion of people that you have under contract are going to close. Okay. Maybe that changes. Maybe in your business, as you go on and get more lengths on your real estate, maybe your conversion rates are different. Maybe if you get someone under contract, your conversion rate's 90%. Maybe it's 60%. You'll kind of understand. I'm going to leave 75% in here because it's just the average. Okay. Then if you go up another tier here where the agreements, okay, it's saying if you have a buyer agreement or a listing agreement with a client, you will convert 75% of those into under contract to close. Okay, so that's where that conversion rate is. Then you go up another line, appointments kept. So if you set the appointment and they keep the appointment, this data, this raw data here that's just plugging in averages is going to say if you sit down with Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or if you sit down with a buyer and they actually meet with you, you have a 75% chance of converting them into somebody signing an agreement. Now, again, your average might be different. Maybe if you can get in front of them, that you are closing them at a higher rate than 75%. Okay. Go up another one. Appointment set. You can set an appointment. How many people are going to hold the appointment? We see this every day with Chris. I see it when I do my like just appointments with the agents. I would say if I set up, my goal is to have 5 appointments a week. If I set up 5 appointments a week, I guarantee I'm only holding 1 or 2 of them. My conversion rates suck. Okay. Kristen, she sets appointments for with agents that she's trying to bring into our market center. Okay. Ask her what her conversion rates are right now. They're not very good, right? So now you have to think about, so if I'm underneath that conversion rate, I'm totally going on a tangent. If I am underneath, if my conversion rate is not 75% or up, then I have a conversion problem. I have something wrong with carrying out my appointments. So I can set the appointments, but I can't hold them. So now I need to look at, so right now as a team, we're looking at how we can get the people to show up. And so Kristen, myself, Jenna, Peyton, we've been all masterminding around it. And one of the things that we're going to start doing is that we're going to have Jenna actually call Kristen's appointments to confirm the appointment. Okay, that reminder. Peyton, yesterday we had career night. She mentioned in team meeting, she only had 5 people show up. Well, this morning when we were talking about those 5 people, those are the 5 people she actually got a hold of yesterday to confirm that they were coming. So right there, we can identify what our potential issue is on holding the appointment is we need to do additional personal touches in between the time that we set the appointment to the time that we hold the appointment, right? Okay. And so then now it goes up even more. So that contacts to appointment set. So do you understand the difference between a lead and a contact?
Okay, so a contact is just someone interested, or someone who might, the way I look at it, make possible services, and a lead is something definitely, or is that?
Opposite. So a contact is someone that you have permission to have a two-way conversation with, and you are developing a relationship with that person. Okay. A lead could be anything. A lead could be a lead that you buy on Zillow. A lead could be something you get in from like a Facebook ad. So these are people that just showed interest, but it's only a one-way conversation. This is not a two-way conversation. So the goal is to convert leads into contacts, because your contacts, once they're contact, then you can nurture them into potential business. So you have to constantly be feeding your database with leads, constantly feeding your database with leads. And your churn, just think of like a funnel, okay? Or like a drum, like where you're spinning it around. You're feeding it here, okay? And then you're working them, you're talking with them, you're trying to communicate, and then you convert them into that contact. So then they go into the contact pool from the lead pool. And now in a contact pool, you have to develop your 36 touch plan. So the idea is that you are communicating to your database 36 times a year, to each contact 36 times a year. So what does that look like though? That's not saying that you need to talk to them on the phone 36 times a year. Right. So just think about it this way. The neighborhood nurture that's in command. That can be sent out either once a month or twice a month. Okay. That would be considered a contact. So you have to look and identify what strategies you are going to take or build in order to communicate to each contact in your database 36 times. Okay. Maybe you do a monthly newsletter. That's 12 contacts right there. You should be calling your database once a quarter. So every single person in your database, a true contact, should hear from you once a quarter. What does everyone have that happens one time a year? Yeah, there's one of your contacts. Communicate to them on their birthday. Okay. So you have to, huh? Yeah, looking for the coupons, right? Um, yeah, so you pretty much, you can develop in 2025 a schedule of how you're going to communicate to your database. And you should handwrite it down at first. Like just really think about what your strategy is going to be. Okay. So come January, maybe you call everyone with the last name from A to F. And then you go into the next month and it's everyone G to N and then so on. So that in 3 month period, you're calling every single person in your database once. Okay. Write a schedule for it. And then you break it down on a weekly because it seems when you're looking at your entire database, anything about, oh my gosh, I have to call. So if, for instance, I have 312 people in my database, how am I going to call 312 people? That just seems so overwhelming to me. And I need to call them 4 times a year. Okay. Well, let's break that down. If I have 300, we'll just say 300. That means I need to call 100 people a month. Okay. Ugh, still a little stressful. Okay. Well, let's break it down even more. And that's 100 people a month that I need to call. Just a touch. Could be a 5 minute conversation, right? Break it down. There's 4 weeks in a month. Okay. So now I'm making 25 phone calls a week. Well, that's still intimidating. Well, how many days, how many working days do I want to work? I want to work 5 days a week. Maybe I want to work 4 days a week. Maybe I want to work 5 days a week. Okay. That's making 5 phone calls a day. That's not bad. And that's having a 300 person database, which they say if you have 201 contacts that you're communicating with strategically, you are going to make over 100,000 in 100,000 in commission in 2025. So 201 is the number, and that's contacts, not just leads. That's contacts, people you're having that two-way conversation with. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's the conversion rate right there. You're pretty much converting 5% of your leads into contacts. Okay. So for every 100 leads that you get, 5 of them become an actual contact. That's a cruel reality. So now we have to figure out what systems we have in place to convert our leads to get generate leads. Because here's the thing, just like the drum, you're spinning it and you're spinning it and you're working the people that are in it. If you're not constantly feeding it with leads, it's going to dry up. And then your contacts start to dry up. So you have to figure out where am I going to pull leads from? So give me some examples of leads that would supply your business.
Okay, so right now working with senior citizens that have homes that are large and looking to sell, but they want to into a ranch.
Mhm.
It's like it's too and with
Oh yeah, Lyft. Yeah. Mhm.
they're just trying to, you know,
They're figuring out downsizing. Mhm.
so it's like doing the pros and cons, and you know, then it's like, well, it's a little chilly. What I'm doing, so what
Mhm. 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 there's always going to be an excuse, unfortunately. And I deal with that with my father-in-law and my parents, truly. It's it's there's always going to be an excuse for them to not sell. So you have to, and this kind of gets back to what we were talking about, like you have to figure out their pain points. Okay, so the pain is still going to be there throughout the winter. So is that pain enough for them to sell? Okay. Um, you need to look at, are they able to buy or without selling their home, or is their home purchase contingent on the sale of their house?
That's what it looks like to me. And like one of the couples, and I think it's too, so that's why they have to, talk with their one has a daughter that is fine. And it would be contingent. And then the other thing is, do you really want to move from a home to another home, or they're trying to say, well, she can, really move to a assisted living, but either way, they may sell home.
Yeah.
So
either way, they have to sell the home.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, in understanding those pain points, you can start setting them up and feeding them information around what's available on the market, because they may fall in love with something and they need to speak to a lender. They need to know what their purchasing power is, because a lot of these lenders can work out programs for them to where they can make that move without selling their home.
And that's generally what I do. That's one of the first things I do. Trust that.
Yeah. Okay.
And
it's hard to get them to commit. Yeah. It's hard. That's a really hard demographic to be working with. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, Craig's got a ton of programs available, Darren, Jennifer Shield, like connect with them and even have conversations with them. They might be able to advise you on those again, because I'm not a real estate agent, right? And so those objective handlers, they're really good at that and understanding like the objections that you're getting from your seller and from your buyer and how you can kind of navigate those in order to really get them into that spot where they understand that pain point. Because when they're in the pain point, then you're the solution to that pain. And that pain point and why they're really wanting to sell is, it sounds like quality of life, right?
yeah, it is. And I think, the older people get, more set and their ways. And I think that's the problem. It's so accustomed, like, one of the these homes. And, it was great. So it's more or less, family members. That's the part we're trying to figure out. What I do is I just kind of create investing program,
Yeah. Mhm.
Which I'm okay with because, it seems like running to like like this side, people wanted to see some $500,000 homes, and I said, oh, that's right. I'm gonna set you up with that. So here's this. It's like, well, talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's people out there who just want to go see $1 million homes. Well, you have $1 million budget. So yeah, getting those pre-approval levels ladders before you even walk into a home. I mean, it saves you time. Yeah, that would just be a waste of time going and seeing a $500,000 house. Yeah.
And that's a hard stop.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
$1 million homes. They just want to ask you those for them. So I have a $500,000 homes, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, what are we doing here? Mhm. All right. Yeah, no, well, that's good that you put your foot down on that. So talking kind of back to like the lead part of it, a lead in your business could be having a conversation with some of these clients that you're already in relationship with and asking if they know anyone that might be interested in buying or selling. So when you're having conversations with people, it's really important to ask them, do you know anyone that might be interested in buying or selling? That, and then they may give you a name. Well, that name is a lead. Okay. So you put it in the funnel, you start working it, communicate, and then you convert them to a contact. Okay. Another lead generator for yourself could be if you run like a Facebook ad. There's ways to set up Facebook ads through command that will go out every day. You pay like $2 a day and you generate leads. They come in and you can set up, and this is something you connect with Peyton on. She can help you set up a program where you're doing these Facebook internet leads. It's $2 a day. Then you can get to a point where you actually start nurturing that lead as soon as it pops in. So you can set it up to where as soon as a lead comes in from Facebook, they're bam put onto a smart plan and they immediately get communication from you. But you still have to call that lead, right? Here's the thing with Facebook leads. For every 100, you're going to get about 5 that are viable. And what happens is when you set it up on a smart plan and command, you will know right away if the email address is valid or not. Because you can set up a smart plan where they just email out initially, or you can even text out initially through command, just introducing yourself. And that's a part of the smart plan. Well, if the phone number bounces back or the email bounces back, then you know it's not a viable lead. You don't have to waste your time on it. Or you can still try calling the number, but just know that there's a way to kind of filter out those bad leads, but it's still a lead that comes in.
That's what's kind of weird. It's like people will contact sometimes, they don't want to be there. And a lot of people, some of them
Through WhatsApp, that's all a scam. It's all a scam. Those are all scammers.
And so I don't even deal with
Nope.
apps, but I've had this so far, I mean, several. What's that? Contact, email, or phone calls, or whatever. Oh, or WhatsApp, or whatever. I haven't really gotten into exactly what's going on with this, what apps they
Oh, it's all overseas.
Oh, I see.
It's all scams.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Um, okay. Yeah. So there's quite a few. I would set up a time to meet with Peyton to help her set up some smart plans and campaigns. Yep. Yep. Okay. So that is this. So now we're going to hit continue. And what it's going to do is it's going to give us a recap. And over here on the right side, if it's saying that I want to make 100,000, and this is before taxes, that I need to generate 121,000 in GCI, gross commission income. All right. And so now we hit set goals. And took me back to here. And this is not live yet. Let me do this for 2024. Hold on. So most agents are run a lot. I definitely suggest it to run your business under an LLC or at some level. The reason why is and I'm not a CPA, there's a lot of tax benefits in doing that. specifically,
And,
no, you absolutely, because here's the thing, you want to keep your business and your professional or your personal separate, and you don't want to those to commingle. Because here's the thing, so an LLC, you're going to run under an EIN, and but you don't have to do a separate tax return for that. That's just done under your personal, under I think it's Schedule E. But the thing, it's very easy and very clean is if you receive your commissions under the LLC, you get a debit card, a credit card, savings account, and a checking account opened up under that LLC. So anytime like your gas mileage, you want to record your mileage, you can run that under the LLC. You can, your expenses, your gas expenses, you pay your MLS dues through the LLC. You pay your office bill through the LLC, and you keep everything in there because when you start receiving commissions and you have those expenses, it offsets your taxable income because you have your income. It's really hard to have a bunch of business write-offs under your personal because if you get audited, it can get really messy. This just keeps it clean. So you have your LLC checking savings account. What I would also suggest is anytime that you run commissions, that you are at least putting 25% of your commission into a savings account for tax liability. And then at the end of the year, once you do your taxes, you can either, whatever that tax liability you don't use, you can either reinvest it in your business or you can take an owner dividend out and pay yourself. But you want to, as you develop your business and you start generating more commission income, you could start paying yourself a salary from that commission, like a consistent salary. Because think of it this way, there's ups and downs in real estate. But if you're paying yourself consistent, then on those months that you have an extreme high sales volume, you're not tempted to take more than you should because the next month you may have no business. So if you have, paying yourself a consistent amount throughout the year, and then you give yourself a raise after you review that year, or maybe you take an over dividend. So there are definitely strategies. There's tons of tax benefits. If your CPA is telling you to run it through an LLC, I'm telling you to run it through an LLC. You should be running it through an LLC. Yeah, so I'm not sure why this isn't showing for me right now, and I apologize. Because it's not saving it for some reason. And this might be because I'm leadership, I'm not a real estate agent, might not be saving for me. So the idea though is after it converts all these numbers, it's gonna spit out for you. Wow, hold on. So it should, I'm not sure what's going on with this. Yeah. Well, it's not showing my 2024 goals. Anyways, so what happens is once this pulls that data, it's going to tell you how many leads that you need to generate if you want to make $100,000. It's going to tell you how many contacts you need to have, and it's going to keep track of your percentages. If the more information that you feed into command as you run your business, it's going to help you track your goals. Okay. So for every appointment we set, you can in command under a contact card, you can set an appointment. You set appointments, it's going to keep how many appointments did you set? How many appointments did you keep? Did you actually hold the appointment? agreements. You can track all of this information in here and it's going to help you keep up with your goals. But this is what I see as a benefit to this graph, the biggest is the leads that you need to get because it focuses you on what like feeding your database, okay? And as you generate leads through social media and you put leads in here, it's going to keep track of those leads that come into your database.
One thing that I'm glad you clarified because I guess I was feeling it in the leads and contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's clear now.
Yep.
So the leads, they lead to.
Yeah, you're not going to just sell a home to a lead. You got to convert them into your contact. So really that is it's a step of building that actual like that relationship and being able to have a two-way conversation. That is the difference between the lead and the contact. And you constantly have to feed it. Yeah, get on Peyton's calendar. I would say like an hour at most is what you need. And let her know that's what you want to focus on is running Facebook campaigns. And then setting up a smart plan um, to service those leads as they come in. All right. Yes.
Great.